Imagine this, an electric vehicle company still young in the industry, a CEO caught between political crosswinds, a major global shift in manufacturing, and a lineup of new vehicles that could genuinely reshape the EV landscape. That's the world we're stepping into today. And trust me, you'll want to stay for this entire conversation because every topic opens the door to the next one. What starts as a simple interview ends up uncovering everything from technology breakthroughs to global trade battles to the future of mobility. Let's dive in. Before anything else, I need to say this up front. This isn't financial advice. I'm not a stock analyst and I'm not trying to be one. I'm just deeply fascinated by Rivian, its business decisions, its technology, the complex ecosystem that supports it, and the finance side that inevitably plays into every move the company makes. So when I saw that the CEO sat down for a long-form conversation at a major technology conference, I knew this wasn't just an interview. It was a window into Rivian's trajectory. Whether you're a fan of the products, an investor, or simply curious, there is a lot to unpack. The interview begins with a relatable moment. The host talks about having kids, driving a minivan, and trying to be just a little cooler. Her kids love Rivian. They've test-driven the vehicles. They want her to pull the trigger and make the switch. She jokes that maybe the CEO can convince her. It's a light human opening that immediately transitions into one of Rivian's biggest early milestones, the moment Jeff Bezos launched into space and a fleet of Rivian vehicles suddenly appeared in the background. It was 2021, and Rivian was just beginning to roll out its first consumer vehicles. RJ explains how the R1T and R1S launched in late 2021 and how Amazon's massive delivery van partnership grew from there. The electric delivery vans many of us now see on the road were designed and built by Rivian. Last year, the company overhauled its entire R1 platform. New network architecture, redesigned electronics, improved computing, a rebuilt perception stack. But his excitement peaks when he shifts to the R2 and R3, a pair of more affordable, compact vehicles that he says have him more excited than anything he's worked on before. The R2 is a 5-passenger SUV, the R3 a sporty crossover. He insists these will open Rivian to a dramatically larger audience, and he promises that if the host isn't convinced enough to buy an R1, the R2 will win her over. From there, the conversation moves into something many people wonder about: Rivian's adoption beyond California, Seattle, and the tech hubs. The vehicles are increasingly common, especially in certain regions, but how is Rivian doing in Middle America? RJ says the company sees strong adoption across cities like Chicago, Austin, Houston, and Dallas. A significant portion of their buyers, around 2/3 or more, are first-time EV owners. That's huge. It means Rivian isn't just converting EV enthusiasts, it's pulling people deep into the mainstream. From personal experience, I can say the adoption is real. I don't live in a wealthy area, and I still see Rivians popping up unexpectedly at intersections or in neighborhoods where I never imagined they'd appear. Then, when I visit bigger cities, especially places like Orlando, they're everywhere. And yet, strangely, sometimes it still feels like not enough. Tesla dominates visually. I still see countless Model S and X units, even though they've been around forever. And then there's Lucid, which somehow seems to appear more often than I'd expect. It makes me wonder where Rivian's everywhere moment will truly begin. RJ pivots to the brand's political neutrality, something increasingly rare in the EV world. Rivian owners come from across the political spectrum. He emphasizes that their messaging is consistent. The products are meant to inspire people to explore, to adventure, to connect with nature and with each other. This leads to a humorous moment. Bumper stickers that say things like, "I bought this before Elon went crazy," or even, "I identify as a Rivian." RJ laughs but stays diplomatic. And then the host dives directly into the topic he clearly didn't expect: the recent public split between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. It's awkward in the funniest way possible. RJ gives one of those careful, measured non-answers, describing the dynamic as interesting, but the host doesn't let it go. She brings up policy suggestions around rolling back EV incentives, and she presses him on how closely Rivian is engaging with the administration on these issues. RJ takes a step back and reframes it. Yes, the day-to-day politics shift constantly, but at the core, the government wants U.S. technology investment and U.S. job creation. Rivian employs over 15,000 people, builds its technology stack in-house, secured the largest software licensing deal in automotive history with Volkswagen, produces vehicles domestically, and is building another major facility in Georgia. Their strategy aligns with long-term national goals. And that's where the conversation gets into some genuinely fascinating economic territory: the difference between incentivizing domestic production and punishing foreign production. Incentives encourage growth. Disincentives restrict choices and create friction. You can see how other countries propel their industries forward. China heavily subsidizes steel, aluminum, battery materials, and EV production. That's why Chinese EV companies are scaling globally at incredible speed. They're entering Europe, Australia, South America, Africa, and even Mexico. Meanwhile, the US often reacts defensively instead of proactively strengthening its own manufacturing competitiveness. Punishing imports doesn't magically create domestic capacity. Building domestic capacity requires investment, partnership, R&D, and strategic incentives. Without that, legacy US automakers risk falling behind globally while just being protected at home. Back to Rivian's journey. After the blockbuster IPO, the stock struggled, tied to supply chain crises and a slower-than-hoped production ramp. Investors shifted focus to profitability and cash flow. But RJ notes that Rivian recently achieved positive gross profit and is making progress toward becoming self-sustaining. Consumer Reports ranked Rivian highest in brand satisfaction 2 years in a row. The R1S market share holds around 35% in its category. The demand is real, and the products resonate. Once the company scales R2 and fully leverages its technology investments, he believes the market will catch up to the long-term vision. Then come tariffs, and how messy, complicated, and disruptive they can be. RJ says Rivian literally has daily stand-up meetings dedicated to monitoring trade changes. The problem isn't the intent, it's the speed. Supply chains in complex industries are sprawling networks. A single headlight can require 70 companies across multiple countries. You can't reorganize that overnight. Tariffs don't magically shift supply chains. They create chaos until companies can re-engineer their sourcing, often over years. And I couldn't agree more. Even a simple stainless steel cup may rely on a dozen different inputs from around the world. The idea that a company can flip a switch and suddenly build everything domestically ignores how manufacturing actually works. The discussion shifts to affordability. Rivian's R1 vehicles average around $90,000, out of reach for many. But the R2 changes the equation with a starting price of $45,000, close to the average cost of a new car in the US. This vehicle is designed to massively expand Rivian's audience. The company's focus is on safety, quality, capability, and price competitiveness, while scaling production to reduce costs over time. The R1 lineup, meanwhile, continues evolving, especially with the introduction of the tri-motor configuration, and soon the quad-motor update that enthusiasts have been waiting for. Charging concerns come next. The host shares her own charging anxiety after driving to Tahoe. RJ admits he expected the US charging landscape to be far more developed by now. Instead, Rivian had to build its own network. Only 2 networks in the US achieve over 99% uptime: Tesla's and Rivian's. Rivian's is still small, only a fraction of Tesla's, but growing. Eventually, those 2 networks will form the backbone of reliable charging across America. Then comes Amazon. The commercial van partnership is enormous. Tens of thousands of electric vans are already deployed. RJ praises Amazon as a deeply collaborative partner. As for Jeff Bezos, he describes him as an advisor and friend, someone who understands volatility, market pressure, and the long-term patience required to build a durable business. That famous line Bezos repeated to him, "You must be comfortable being misunderstood." It captures exactly what Rivian is facing. The market may not fully appreciate what they're building yet, but long-term execution will tell the real story.
That leads to Slate Auto, Bezos's new EV venture aiming to build an ultra-low-cost electric pickup around $20,000. The reality, that price depends almost entirely on the $7,500 tax credit, which may disappear soon. Without it, the truck would cost more and lack features most buyers want. Simplicity sounds exciting until you remember that most buyers in that price bracket want maximum value, not manual windows and no integrated audio system. Practicality matters more than novelty. The conversation expands to industry structure. The tech world often sees winner-take-all outcomes, but automotive is different. With around 100 million vehicles sold globally each year, no one company will dominate. Instead, a handful of strong players will scale to millions of units each. In the US, the lack of choices under $50,000 has slowed EV adoption substantially. Tesla's overwhelming market share is more a reflection of limited alternatives than anything else. Rivian wants to change that. Autonomy becomes the next big topic, and RJ dives deep into the shift